The other way around, when we are getting something that we want to import, then, well, first I just create a form here. That's not something that's so interesting. Here is when I actually get the file that I imported. In order to make this work, you have to set Lasso to accept the suffix ICS, so that it accepts to deal with that kind of files. First, check if there actually was a file uploaded, and then read it. I don't have to copy this file into another directory or do something with it, because as soon as I've read the content, I'm going to throw it away. So I can keep it in the temporary directory where it gets when it's uploaded, and I can read it from there. So once this is done here, it will be thrown away. Here I parse it for iCal information, and the iCal parsing tags, they are very unforgiving. So this is of wrong format. If someone of mistake sent me a picture or something that wasn't in the correct iCalendar format, this will freak out and give me a fatal error and say, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going home, go to bed. Help me, mama. So I have to put them inside protect, so I won't get that error. And then I just check to see if this import here, if this parsing that I did, is it actually a calendar type? If it is, then this parsing was successful. If not, it was something else, something that couldn't be interpreted in the correct way. So then I'll just skip the rest. But if it is a calendar type, then I create a database object using Knoop. I prepare an SQL statement here, insert into the calendar these fields, and stop here at values, because that's something I'm going to iterate. It could be an import containing several events, and I want them all. It's not like when you import an iCalendar to Microsoft Outlook, you only get the first one, because it doesn't understand what to do with the rest. I want to be better than Microsoft, so it's not too hard, but.
Are these types still based on Knoop, or are they just
No. Knoop is this part. This is
that's
iCalendar.
just okay.
Yeah. Knoop is only for the actual getting
Install, is it?
and sending records to the service. So here we iterate the import that we're doing. Since this is a calendar object, we can use events to create an array of events and iterate that as any other kind of array. But again, getting the attributes out of that event is unforgiving. If I try to get an attribute from an empty object, there wasn't any summary or description. There's usually a summary, but there might not be a description or a location. So then this would be empty, and it will not be an iCal object. It will just be an empty variable. So I have to do some checks here. First, I create content into these variables here, that part, for each possible content that I have in the import. And then I do some checks down here to check that it really was of type attribute. It has a content. In the case of the ID of the object, I add an object. I add an ID if there wasn't one. It could be that they sent me an iCal event, but they didn't have a unique ID for that event. So then I have to add one so I can save it in my database. And if there wasn't a summary, then what the hell, just skip it. You don't have to add that. There are some peculiarities with the tags here, because actually when I tried to mix this, when I did the getting and the checking, just to set it, if I mix this part and this part, it errored out with odd-looking error messages that wasn't descriptive at all. So I had to first get all the attributes and then do stuff with them. I couldn't mix that. Don't know why, but it's something with the iCal object. So, once I get that, I can start building the SQL down here. This is where I fill it with values. I take, this is the creation date and the modification date, and since it's new, that's something that I just let MySQL add. And since I can't trust what the user sent me, I have to use encode SQL on it. There could be no-nos inside there. They could be trying to trick me. We don't want that. I don't have to do this with these fields because they are date values, so if there were something wrong in there, it would just be skipped by the data type. So just have to make sure that I cast a mistake, and that's here. So this builds the rest of the SQL, and it could be that they sent me an event that was already in the calendar. In this case, I treat that as an update. So on duplicate key, update instead. And here I perform the SQL. This is set to the server here. And if there's no error, then fine. I don't need any feedback because the calendar will get refreshed if it's a success. If not, I populate a message array with the error message and no, that's lasso. I mean, I've created an empty array further out the line, and I insert it here, and then I do a check. Here's the check. If the array is greater than 0, then show the message, return the message. If not, return this JavaScript snippet that just refreshes the main window and closes the window I used for the upload. Due to limitations in the AJAX handling, the what do you call it, XR? Yeah, whatever, that one. You can't use AJAX for file upload. So that's why I have to do that in a separate window.
Yes, it's possible. You use an iframe instead.
Yeah.
So there are possible. There are
There are
plugins in
limits
Jquery
to
handle
how
that as
interested
well.
I am in providing open source solution. So
No, but there are jQuery plugins that can help you with that too. If you want to add that one day,
I know.
or if anyone wants to.
Yeah. But Ajax in itself does not handle uploads.
True.
So you have to work around that somehow. I did it by just supplying an extra window instead of having the windows communicate with each other. This takes care of the fact that you could add an event that's in an entirely different week. It wouldn't matter, it would get inserted, and the present week would get refreshed. There would be the new events in it, but actually I don't find that too important.